If you're thinking about buying your first home in Hamilton, but you're not quite sure about how the process works or where to start, then you're in the right place. My name is Steve. I'm a real estate agent in Hamilton, and this video is going to give you a very simple, high-level overview of the entire home buying process from start to finish so that you know exactly what to expect, what to prepare for, and where to go next. We're not going to get super technical here or super detailed. We're just going to keep it brief just so that you have a general idea of what to expect from start to finish throughout the home buying process. Now, if you want something a little bit more comprehensive, you can always reach out to me. You can ask me any questions that you have about your own personal situation, or you can grab my free first-time homebuyer survival guide. The link to that will be down in the description. But for now, let's walk through this so you know exactly what your next steps are depending on where you are in the process. So the first thing that you want to do before you even begin looking at homes is to get your finances in order. You need to have a solid understanding of what you can actually afford before you go and start shopping around. So the first thing, very early stages, you want to look at your budget. How much can you realistically afford per month? Look at what your credit score is. Work on improving that because the higher the credit score, the better for you when it comes to qualifying for a mortgage. And then get a little bit of clarity around the real monthly cost of owning a home. So there's your mortgage payment that you're going to make, but you also have to factor in insurance. You want to factor in maintenance, utilities. There's going to be property taxes. Perhaps there's condo fees if you're buying a condo. So there's a lot that goes into owning a home from the expenses side, and you want to make sure that you're aware of how much your income will be going towards that each month, and how much of your income you're comfortable putting towards that. And it's also a great time to be saving up for a down payment. The sooner you start, the better. You can look into some programs like the First Home Savings Account to help accelerate that process. All right, so you've gotten your finances in order. You've built a solid budget. Now, the next thing that you do is, we're still not looking at houses yet. You want to go get yourself pre-approved for a mortgage. A pre-approval gives you an actual number to work with. Now, there are some free mortgage calculators online that you can use in the early stages to get an idea of what you would be paying per month. That's better used in the first step. In this stage, you want to get an actual mortgage pre-approval done because those mortgage calculators aren't super accurate. They're more for general information, but to get an actual number, you want to speak to a licensed mortgage broker. A lot of buyers make the mistake of doing this after they go look at homes, and what this does, it does a couple things. One, it causes you to waste a lot of time looking at homes that you can't afford, and number two, you potentially fall in love with a home that you can't obtain. So get yourself pre-approved first before you go out looking. It will also give you some leverage during the offer process because if you're pre-approved, then that shows sellers that you're more serious compared to somebody who has to go out and get a pre-approval. It takes time to get that done, and you could potentially miss out on a home to somebody else who already has their pre-approval done. So get it done. It's free, doesn't cost you anything before you get started, and then you'll be much more prepared. Now that you have your pre-approval in mind, you know the upper limits of your budget. Now it's time to sit down and figure out what it is you're actually looking for in a house. First-time buyers have a tendency to get distracted, and doing this in advance will really anchor you back in reality so that you know exactly what you're looking for and you don't end up buying something that doesn't quite work for you. So it's good to sit down, come up with a list of your must-haves, so the things that the home has to have. That's maybe how many bedrooms, a proximity to work, a rough square footage, things of that nature that you cannot live without. And then create your nice to haves list. That's going to be the things that you would like but aren't necessarily deal breakers if you have to sacrifice them. That might be a backyard pool, that might be a finished basement, things that you would probably like to have, but it's not complete deal breakers without them. And then when you find a home, what you're going to do is you're going to refer back to this list and you're going to compare it. Does it have all of your must-haves, and does it have a decent amount of your nice-to-haves? Now, ideally, you would like the home to have all of your must-haves and all of your nice-to-haves, but sometimes, it's not a perfect world. You can't find all of that, especially if you're working within a budget. But having these listed out in advance, make sure that you don't miss something crucial. All right, so once you've done that, now it is finally time to do the fun part, which is to start house hunting, going out and viewing homes. Now, there's two main things you want to keep in mind when you're actually going out looking at homes. The first is you want to try to visualize yourself living there. Look at, okay, does this make sense for me? How does this fit into my daily routine? Things of that nature. Try to visualize yourself there. visualize yourself hosting people? Does the home actually fit with the vision that you have for your life over the next several years? And then the next thing you want to do is look for any potential red flags. Now, you don't have to be super nitpicky here. No home is perfect, but you're going to look for things in general that might make you think twice about it. So if you see any water damage or anything of that nature, anything that like smells funny, quite literally, just keep your eyes and your ears and your nose open as you're going through the house. Is there a highway right outside the bedroom window that's going to keep you up all night? Things like that you're going to want to look out for. Now, you don't have to worry about spotting every single flaw with a home. That is what your home inspector is for. You just want to generally keep an eye out for that sort of thing. In my experience, it typically takes buyers about 5 to 10 showings to find a home that they like and that they want to put an offer on. So if you've gone out and you've viewed a couple and they're not quite right, don't get discouraged. I find that first round of showings is more to calibrate you and to give you an idea of what's happening in the marketplace. It's not likely that you'll find the right one the very first house you view, so don't worry about that. All right, so the next step, once you've found something that you like, is to put in an offer. Now, this is where your real estate agent will do the bulk of the work. They'll help you out through this entire process. When you're putting an offer, there's 4 key elements. You have the price that you're going to offer. That's the big one. Then you have the deposit, you have the conditions that you're putting in, and then the closing date. Those are the 4 most important key elements of any offer. I'm not going to go too in depth with this, but for the price, when it comes to picking a price that makes sense, this is where you really lean on your realtor. What they will do is they will pull the comparable sales that have happened in the last several months for that home in particular, and they'll show you what homes that are similar to this one have already sold for. And then you want to base your offer on that one. Maybe you start at the bottom of that range. I don't recommend you lowball $100,000 below the market value of the home, because that is how you miss out to another buyer who's more realistic. But pick a number within a realistic range. You can start low and then kind of negotiate within that realistic range. Then you have your conditions. This is the one that confuses a lot of people. So a conditional offer basically gives you the opportunity to back out of the deal if certain conditions aren't met. So the most common one is a home inspection. So what that is, you put an offer in that has a home inspection condition. What that is, it typically gives you about 5 to 10 days to have a home inspection done on the property. So during that window, you hire a home inspector. They go through, they inspect all the systems, the electrical, the plumbing, and so on. They look for any potential damage, potential issues that might be with the home, either now or in the future. And then they'll give you a report, and then you now can use that to determine if you still want to buy the house or not. If you decide that there's too much work there, maybe there's structural issues or something like that that you don't want to deal with, or it's going to be too much money for you to deal with, then because you have that condition in place, you can back out of the deal and get your deposit returned in full. And on the flip side, if the inspection is good and you decide you still want to buy the house, then you just waive the condition and then you move forward with the deal. Now, having all the aspects of your offer optimized can help make it stronger for you and help you to win the deal. And then what typically happens is you go back and forth a couple times with the seller until you come to terms that everybody is happy with, and then you agree. And then from there, we move forward. Now we're in the period from when we accepted the offer to closing. Closing date is usually 30 to 90 days from when you accepted that offer. Closing date is just when the keys get transferred from the seller to you, the title gets transferred, the money gets sent to them, and then you're officially a homeowner at that point. During this period, your lawyer will handle all the heavy lifting. They'll explain to you everything that needs to be done. They'll make sure that title gets transferred, that there's no title issues, and they'll do everything like that. They'll coordinate the closing with you as well. And that is it. That is the home buying process in a nutshell. Now, it's not too complicated, but you inevitably will still have some questions, which is completely fine. If that is the case, you have 2 options. You can download my free first-time home buyer survival guide. It breaks it down in just a little bit more detail, goes more in depth into some of the hidden costs and things like that, some of the common mistakes that buyers make. So if you want, check that out. It's down in the description, or you can reach out to me directly. My contact info is down below. You can send me a text, email, call, whatever is more comfortable for you. And you can ask me questions about your personal situation. And if you're in the mood to binge some more content, you can check out this video right here for some more Hamilton real estate content, or you can just hit that button over there to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any other videos like this. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.